Honorable Ssegirinya Muhammad was a member of parliament belonging to the National Unity Platform and, for that matter, the opposition in parliament. I was his leader. I have been his leader in parliament. Now, again, we need to apply wisdom. Yeah? When you're to give a decent send-off to a member of parliament, what is befitting to them, why do you put in place a one-man committee? Why? If really you want to respect, especially the wishes of the deceased person, bring the other stakeholders on board. As leader of the opposition, who was leading Honorable Ssegirinya, I was not involved anywhere. Why? The party which he belonged to and loved very much, and he made certain declarations even before he died, how he wanted his party involved, his party president, and so on. Why not adopt another leader, either from the secretariat or within the ranks of NUP, to be part of the organizing committee? Why? His family was also left out. They were just being given orders. And that's why you saw they were also divided. At the burial, some were saying, let's go the other side. Others were saying, let's respect the wishes of Honorable Ssegirinya as a family, let's stay here. So even the family was divided because you've not brought them on board. That's the mistake that was made. And it was deliberate, I think. So if you want to respect a person like Honorable Ssegirinya, respect his family, respect his party which he loved, respect the side he belonged to in the opposition. But when you decide to put in place a one-man committee, disregarding all the other critical stakeholders, you have a problem. You have not applied wisdom, in my view. And that's why I'm saying it was deliberate to do that. Because you see, I normally see people who say they have so much wisdom that supersedes the wisdom of other people. I have seen some people who have said there are some politicians who need so many years to get to the wisdom that I have. Okay, you show the public that you are wise. Because any smart politician, really, any smart politician, you apply that wisdom. So I think that's the problem that happened from the word go. And that's the response that I have. I think it's Tweheyo, who kept shouting, honorable, honorable. I'll not be dragged further in that issue. Honorable Ali Mivule, please withdraw. Ali, withdraw. Oh, not Tweheyo, sorry. Sorry. Jimmy. Yeah, so that's my response to that issue. You might not be happy with that response. You also go and hold a press conference after here, and you say what you want to say. Have you heard Jimmy? I'm going to finish mine in a few minutes. So you'll call your colleagues either on the veranda of Parliament or wherever, and you also tell them what you want to tell them. Again, tying that in with somebody said the family of Honorable Ssegirinya has declared that they are endorsing somebody, and they are saying NUP should give the flag of the party to that person. As a party, we are going to follow our processes. The same processes we followed to eventually get Honorable Ssegirinya to be our flag bearer are the processes that we are going to follow to that effect. Why call us to tell us what you have done? I called you here so that we can interact. Yeah, so that we can interact. And that's why you're asking the questions that you're asking me. And it's good you considered and said, but we have seen the things you have been doing. Why are you calling us to tell us about them? There's no harm in us interacting on this anniversary and giving some kind of accountability about what we have been up to. It's important that as and when we can. Juma, issue of political prisoners and so on and so forth. The other strategy that we have employed, as opposed to, in addition to using all the avenues we have, going to court, even though we know that there are challenges in court, we said, okay, let's use that avenue there. Let's keep engaging the families, bring attention to this issue and so on. We have been calling on religious leaders to come on board. Shortly after I got into office, you saw we held a meeting with the Interreligious Council of Uganda, led by Archbishop Dr. Kazimba Mugalu and the others. And we were saying, please, we want to hear your voices on this issue as religious leaders. It's important. And I'm glad that many of them nowadays, they keep speaking about it. You see it. You see it on Sunday, in cathedrals, in churches. You see it on Fridays, in mosques. That's also an important element. Because when it is just us politicians speaking about these issues, you kept hearing how some were dismissing and saying, no, you guys took them in Canada, you took them abroad. Are you going to tell the same thing to a religious leader or a cultural leader? So we are glad that all those voices, as we kept engaging them, they are upping their involvement. Namayo asked, did you set out goals? I thought that's where I started. I told about our three key priority areas, and I told you how far we have gone regarding those. Tuheyo asked about the coffee bill and all the others that were passed in a problematic manner. We have told the coffee farmers, number one, grow more coffee. If it was the ploy of government to discourage you from growing more coffee, please don't fall for it. This government is going to outlive the coffee that you grow. And so we have said, as coffee farmers, let's get on board. Voice those concerns. The election is around the corner. Use your ballot as a stick against this government, which wants to take everything away from you. Use that voice as well. As MPs, we have got a part to play. Yes, we did, and we shall continuously do so. You saw what happened in the House. Our colleagues being roughed up, lights switched off. You, the media, you were locked up. You were prisoners and that kind of thing. So as we keep doing our part, we are telling the people out there, the 12.5 million Ugandans who are involved in the coffee value chain, speak out with your vote as well. Yeah, because it's important. Don't allow for things to be taken away from you as if you're voiceless. Yes, man. So it's now been a year of keeping the government in check, together with my colleagues on the shadow cabinet. It's been a tough year, but I thank God I am a tough man, and we are a tough team as colleagues working together. As you saw, I was fought from the word go by many people, but I stood my ground because I had work to do together with colleagues, those here and those not here. There's been numerous challenges, as we kept adumbrating them to you, that were out to frustrate us. Something that we said will not bog us down. You see, the thing about leadership, it is to encounter challenges head on, and you keep transcending them. So numerous challenges kept coming. As soon as I got into office, contracts of staff that we had with us here came to a close, and they were not renewed. I asked why. They said it's a new system, because that wasn't the practice previously. And so we did not have staff to operate with. They said we shall get for you some from other departments within Parliament. But of course, the nuances of the office of the leader of the opposition are a little bit different. So it's been a tough fight, but we kept moving. We did set out to do and carry out oversight visits. As you saw, some of them were frustrated. The very first oversight visit that we set out to do regarding the bad roads within the city, we requested for Parliament vehicles, coasters. We went with them. As soon as we got there, they were withdrawn. We said, but we have not even started. Said either enter the buses and return, or we withdraw them and they return without you. Said, okay, you can take them. We had to hire taxis to do our work. So the pettiness went even to that level. I've severally raised concerns about commission meetings, parliamentary commission meetings. I've been in office for a year. There has been numerous parliamentary commission meetings, which commission I am a member of, but I have not attended even one parliamentary commission meeting. It's absurd that we keep operating this way. Yesterday, there was another meeting of the Parliamentary Commission interfacing with the Legal and Parliamentary Affairs Committee. Again, I was not informed about this meeting. I was not invited, as should be. And I kept wondering, why? So this morning, I have written to the Speaker of Parliament, who is the chairperson of the Parliamentary Committee, Parliamentary Commission, reminding her of her duties and obligations, reminding her, just in case she forgets, that I'm actually a full member of the commission within the law. And as I have raised severally, of course, the reason I believe they keep keeping me out of these parliamentary commission meetings is because there's so many financial dealings therein that are improper. I've raised concerns about these publicly and told you some of the goings on therein that are illegal and wrong. And so they know when I'm present, I'm going to object to some of these things. I guess that's why they keep meeting even without me. The few times they have tried to inform me, again, they are very shady about it. The last time I was invited formally for a parliamentary commission meeting was on 3rd December. I was out of town on official duties, known by the Speaker of Parliament and her office. So they set that meeting on that day when I was away. What's more problematic is the invitation letter came on the evening of 2nd Feb, inviting me for a meeting the following morning, well knowing I was out of town. But even more preposterous is that this letter was backdated. I have the letter here with me. It was written indicating 26th November, 2024. But it was delivered in my office on 2nd December in the evening, informing me about a meeting the following day in the morning. This meeting was to discuss the budget of the Parliamentary Commission. So you can see why they were sketchy about it, because they knew this Ssegirinya being in this meeting is going to disturb us. They wanted to pass their financial dealings and things without any disturbance from Ssegirinya. Because, you know, as we have told you, there's many things that happen there. They sit, give themselves service awards, and all of these illegal financial dealings. So I have, for the umpteenth time, written to the Speaker of Parliament this morning, raising this query again, because it's important that it be on record, so that I'm not just talking about it in the press, but that it is on record, even as we seek to take further action regarding this matter. Look, many have tried to frustrate our work, including some colleagues in the opposition, but I'm glad that together as a team we have asserted ourselves in just 1 year. As soon as I settled into office, we unveiled our key priority areas, which were 3. Number 1, fighting corruption, poor service delivery, and human rights violations. These are the ills that we set out to fight as a team. Again, I'm grateful to God that we continue to pursue those issues relentlessly. Fighting corruption, poor service delivery, and human rights violations, because we believe those are some of the issues that Ugandan citizens are grappling with. There are numerous issues, of course, yeah? But we said, let's put our focus on especially these 3. We lose over 10 trillion shillings to corruption every year. That's money that should be used to deliver services to the people of Uganda. And again, because of that and many other reasons, service delivery is at an all-time low. Human rights violations, people continuously abducted, people jailed for no offense, people missing to date. These are issues that we continuously pursue. As a team, we have provided numerous alternatives through different minority reports, alternative ministerial policy statements by our shadow ministers, and the alternative budget, which we presented to the nation. It was very important for us to present an alternative budget to the nation. We know that, yes, it might not be considered, but we must show Ugandans the picture of what ought to be, and that it gets to be on record. So while our alternative views are usually disregarded by our colleagues in the NRM, because they have the numbers in Parliament, it's important for us to always have these alternative policy views on record, and for Ugandans to know what we would do had we been in charge of our country's affairs. So the majority get to have their way, but as the minority we get to have our say, which is very important. The majority get to have their way because they have the numbers, but as the minority, it's important that we always get to have our say, which say should be loud and clear. For people to juxtapose the two, compare and contrast, and see that really, even though these guys are not in power, but this is where we should be putting our money. These are the sectors we should be focusing on. These are the services that we should be availing to the people of Uganda. We have drawn attention of the country to the precarious habit of government giving taxpayers' money to private companies without any proper guidelines and without a clear modus operandi of who qualifies to be assisted with government resources. This, as far as I'm concerned, as an abuse of taxpayers' money, is a form of corruption. Because when it is not clear how government supports private companies, because any government, any serious government, there's a place to shoulder the burden of private entities. We went through COVID and so on. Some companies have never recovered. And so the justification being some companies employ hundreds of young people, so you don't want them to close. But if you are to bail them out, there must be a clear modus operandi. This is something we have raised severally. Can there be a clear guideline so that any private investor out there who is struggling to keep their head above the water, who has got bank loans or who is crumbling in one way or another, they know that this is how I apply to get a government bailout. But now it's not clear. So it is friends, relatives, in-laws, outlaws that have access to this money. So if you don't have a powerful friend in government who will hold your hand and take you to receive money, you don't get to be supported. This is wrong. It's a form of corruption. But also that this money gets to be properly accounted for. Because all the places we have been to so far, and we are going to several others this year, but those we have gone to so far, you don't see accountability of this money. We visited a Tiak sugar factory in Amuru district. This factory has so far been given 553 billion shillings, taxpayers' money, to produce sugar. The last time we were there, last year, there was no sugar being produced. As we speak today, there's still no sugar being produced. So you give them money without clear guidelines, without a clear understanding, but even the money cannot be accounted for. We went today Biopharma. These have been given so far 723 billion shillings to produce vaccines, medicine, and so on. When we went there, they told us that by the end of October, they will be producing medicine. We are now in 2025. There's no medicine being produced from there. And these are people who were given money without even clear terms of reference. These companies are not even valued first. Because it's important that you first value. If you're saying you're going to buy stake in a company, what's the worth of this company? They don't do that. They just dole out money. And then the money is not accounted for. There is no value for this money. We visited Roko. These ones did not even allow us access. They've been given 263 billion shillings so far. They're the guys who are meant to build the chambers of parliament. And to date, parliamentary chambers are incomplete. Meanwhile, parliament spends billions of shillings to rent office space for MPs, staff, and so on and so forth. We visited recently Inspire Africa Coffee Factory in Tungamo. That's also been supported with billions of taxpayers' money to build a coffee factory. Again, the last we were there was no understanding between the factory and government. So we're saying, under what arrangement did you give these people money? Are you buying stake in the company? Are you lending them so that they will pay back? Are you just giving free money and that kind of thing? But also questions about why the company in Tungamo. Now, the proprietor of the company has a right to put it wherever they want. But government, are you putting your money where your mouth is? And so on and so forth, among many other cases. Some places that we shall be going to again this year. So we still demand that the billions given to these private entities are accounted for. And we still insist, government, there must be mechanisms of bailing out companies. There must be a clear modus operandi so that anybody knows, even I can apply, and not just a few who are connected. In carrying out our oversight activities, we visited the Lubowa Hospital site, on which the taxpayer has so far spent over 600 billion shillings on that Lubowa construction site. At the time, there was nothing going on at the site. No wonder we were denied access, as you remember. I'm told that as a result of the noise we have continuously made about Lubowa Hospital, some construction work is now happening there. What's for sure is that whenever the construction we hear is going on gets done, we shall seek to establish whether what was constructed is worth over 600 billion shillings that the taxpayer has injected into this problematic project. That's important. So they might say, now that these people are making so much noise about it, let's put up some kind of structure. We shall seek to understand What is the worth of that structure? Is there a value for these taxpayers' money? We have put the government on the spot regarding the trillions of shillings lost to corruption annually, and we are not going to stop. We shall not stop. In this fight against corruption, we are able to draw attention to Parliament as well, because we must begin the fight against corruption in our backyard, here. So as we expose corruption in State House, in ministries, and the different government entities, we shall also keep pushing for the cleaning up of Parliament where we work, because this is our turf. This is our backyard. And in this new year, we are simply going to engage a higher gear in the fight against corruption, as you will see. I've heard people say that the current Parliament has got incompetent MPs. I actually disagree. The major issue, as far as I'm concerned, in this legislature of ours is lack of integrity. People are competent, they know what to do. Whether it be among new MPs or the seniors. It's not incompetence. No, we know what to do. As legislators, when we are voted by our people, we know the issues that concern our people, and we can be able to voice them. But that does not happen many times. Why? Because integrity is the issue. We fear to step on some toes. We fear to annoy some people. You hear MPs saying, for me, I was told if I insist on these issues of corruption and so on, they are going to bring an opponent against me and fund that opponent heavily. Others are told, look, we shall not fund you for your election. Or if you keep quiet about these things, maybe we shall fund you. Or make sure you get declared, regardless. And so that is the issue that is happening in this Parliament. Because MPs are well educated and exposed, but the lack of integrity is what happens. And just to clearly paint you a picture, out of all the 557 members of Parliament that we have in this House, including the ex-officials, at least 18 of them, 18 of us as MPs, have got PhDs. 18. 231 members of Parliament have got master's degrees. 251 members of Parliament have got bachelor's degrees. I know this information will shock some of you. 37 have diplomas. Only 16 possess just the minimum qualification of USCE, Senior 6. Only 16. And only 4 possess certificates that are equivalent to USCE. Only 16 have Senior 6 certificate, which is the requirement in the law to be an MP. And only 4 possess the equivalent. Those who have studied wherever and so on, then you come and it is equated. So how do you say that MPs are incompetent or shallow? Because I hear that a lot from analysts. This Parliament, MPs are incompetent and so on. No, I don't agree. I think what we lack here is integrity. Because MPs are educated, exposed, they know what to do. And by the way, it's not just this Parliament. You remember that MPs were given 5 million shillings to remove term limits in 2005. These were educated people. They knew what to do. They knew that term limits are good for the country. So did they remove term limits because they were incompetent? No, but because they were bribed. In the last Parliament, the 10th Parliament, MPs were given 29 million shillings to remove presidential age limit. Did they not know that this wasn't good for the country? Did they not hear the voices of their people? So did they do this out of incompetence? No. So even in this Parliament, the 11th Parliament, you've heard the stories, 40 million shillings, 50 million shillings, and the like, given to members of Parliament. You saw Honorable Twaha Kagabo running around up and down. When we caught him red-handed, we said, you have got to return that money. Put it in the bag, run with it. Then he came back and told us, but now, those who gave it to me have said, we gave it to you, we no longer need it, take it back, wherever. So he was pacing up and down the corridors of Parliament, the stairs of Parliament. This is somebody, I hear he calls himself a doctor. I don't know whether he's a qualified doctor, but he looks like he's gone to school. So he's competent. He knows what to do. And others. But lack of integrity. money that is exchanging hands in this parliament is the biggest problem that we have. So people should stop using the excuse of this parliament, MPs are incompetent, or whatever the case might be. No, what we need to work on is the integrity question. No wonder an MP can sign a motion targeting corrupt leaders in this house, then pretend that they were hoodwinked into signing that motion. It's a clear sign of lack of integrity. Because this MP falls among one of these. Either she has senior 6 or equivalent or something, meaning she can read. So why would you lie that you read and you knew what you were signing, but now you're saying, I was hoodwinked, a member of parliament? It's a question of lack of integrity that has got to be dealt with. We have and shall continue to use the platform that we have to demand for proper service delivery through efficacious use of taxpayers' money and the respect for human rights. Government, through its security entities, continues to violate the rights of citizens. Many have been killed, others abducted, many are in jail simply because of their political beliefs, while others have been tortured. We shall keep pushing back against all this injustice. As we have said to those who care to listen, this is not just a question of those in the opposition. There are no survivors in a sinking boat. It is happening to colleagues in the NRM too. You saw one of our colleagues, Honorable Paul Akamba. He was granted bail and he was rearrested within the precincts of Parliament, of court. So don't think that because you belong to the NRM, you are safe from injustice. No. This brutality will come your way if we all don't collectively say no. You hear the talk of deny them bail, deny them police bond and that kind of thing, and I've seen some fellows within the ruling party saying yes, it should be denied. That fellow does not know that tomorrow they will be the one needing bail for one reason or another. So we need to think as critically as we possibly can. As we use the platform we have to fight these injustices, we call upon Ugandans to join the fight against bad governance and injustice, because all of us are potential victims. We are glad to see young people and civil society activists who have joined the fight against corruption. We saw them protesting about corruption here at Parliament. That was a good sign that we together can stand against corruption and all other forms of injustice. May God help us to take this a notch higher in this year. The second year of our mandate is going to be an opportunity for us to do even more in executing our mandate of keeping the government in check, still pursuing the key priorities, the 3 key priorities: fighting corruption, poor service delivery, and human rights violations. So we shall continue to shake those tables, regardless whose drinks are on those tables. I thank you. Maybe I'll quickly translate that